Okay, let's get started to the persistent data in iPad. So over here we are going to give a presentation on the keynote presentations, that how we are going to save data in our iPad applications. My target is over here to make an application something of this kind. Over here the text field and the date picker, where whatever we write that statement over here, whatever sentence we write over here, and the date that we choose, this application should be able to save its data. Hi, I am Kumar Utsav. Let me introduce myself. I'm Kumar Utsav, and making my iPad applications is my hobby, and I'm new into this field. So guys, come back to this. What do you require? So we require three things. The first thing is you need to get to the path of the file. Second, we need to save data. And third, we need to load data. So let's get started and see one by one. The first thing is we need to search for the documentations, that is the Apple documentations, how we are going to store data. So looking at this Apple documentation, I came across this method name NSSearch path for directories in domains. Now we are going to use this method, and then this method will ask for three arguments. We will provide those three arguments, and then we will return the first path, that is by using the object at index, and save it to .plist file. I'll be explaining this in my Xcode. Now in my Xcode, this is my viewcontroller.h. Let me give a view introduction onto this one. We have made a text field over here like this, and then we have made date picker on this ones like this, and then we are using this dismiss keyboard. Why? Because when we will type this, the keyboard will appear, and when we will press anywhere else, this keyboard will dismiss. So the three methods are get file path, save data, load data. Now come to the implementation part. Now in the implementation part, we have synthesized my text field, my date picker. Now over here we have got a get file path. Now in this, what we are doing, we are providing three arguments to the NSSearch path for directories in domains. Now when we have got this, we will get an array. This is array. So we need to return the array. So which array will return? Because this path array will have many arrays. So we'll choose the first path. So that is the path array, object at index 0, string by appending path components, saved plist. So my idea is to save all the data into the save.plist so that it could be further retrieved by this load data, and the data that we'll write on this application will be saved to the plist file through the process save data. As you can see over here, that this method is being called by this method save data to save the file into the plist. Plist is nothing where some data are stored, where your application's data are stored into the plist file. Now coming back again to the keynote. Next is saving data. So how we are going to save data? So make objects of text field and date picker by doing allocate init. So let's come to the Xcode and see over here. We are doing this save data. We are doing the allocate init for this my text field, for this one text field, and for the date picker for this ones. And once this we have made an array, this array knows how to write it to file. So this method is typically from the Apple documentations. So value write to file, self get file path, and this has to be made thread safe, so we are using atomically yes. Now come to the keynote presentation. Third one, loading data. So in loading data, we'll first get where we have to load the path from. Second, we have to check from the NS file manager whether the file exists. And third, using object at index, which is used for the array, we will provide the saved value path to the text field and date picker. Now coming back to the Xcode, we are using this data. So it is load. So in the load data, we have got NS string my path. So we are getting this. We are using this one file path. So we will get it, and this boolean file exists. We'll check whether this path exists or not. So how we are doing this? NS file manager, default manager, file existed path, my path. Now if the file exists, which will say yes or no, if it is yes, then it will proceed, and it will init with the content of file my path, which is this one, my path. So eventually we are retrieving the data from this save.plist. So now we are providing this my text field.text equals to values object at index, and my date picker.data equals to values object at index 1. So that's it. If we have written everything right, we will be able to see how this data is being saved. But before that, we have to do 4 things left. And that 4 things is, we'll come to this keynote presentations and we'll see it once that. So we have to load data in viewDidLoad method, and then we have to save data when application did enter background in the delegate file, and we load data when application did enter foreground in delegate file. So let's do one by one. So in this over here, we are going to see viewDidLoad. We have written self load data, and then we move on to the controller file, not controller, delegate file, and over here we are writing when application will enter foreground, we are loading data, and when application will enter enter background, we will save data. So these are typically done when you will when you will switch off the applications. So let's see how it runs in my iPad application. So we are running this on iPad applications, and before it runs, let me tell you one thing, that I have given a launch image in this hero.png, recent iMac coming, which is very beautiful. So I've given a launch image, so I expect my application, when it will launch, it will provide this image. And let's see if it gets started. Waiting for the applications to run. This is my simulator, and yeah, it runs. Okay, this is my launch, and this is my first video on YouTube. Let's say this is my first video. So we have written, and we are going to provide today's date. So today's date is 28 October, and 28 October, let's say 28 October, let's say tomorrow's date, so that we can remember. So tomorrow's date, 29 October, 12 p.m. And let's see, when we close this application, we'll be able to retrieve the data back again. So yeah, we retrieved the data. This is my first video, 29 October, that's tomorrow's date, and this is 12 p.m. So that's it. These are the ways to make the data in your applications to be there. That's it from Kumar, sir. And I must say, thanks. Okay.